IMDb grew from my personal love of films, from creating a database of all the films that I had seen, to publishing software to search that database online in, 1990, through to launching a website in 93, which became so successful that we incorporated as a business in 96. And then we sold to Amazon in 1998. So it's been an interesting 20-year journey. So essentially, back in 1990, we had a simple set of text files where I was managing a list of actors and the films in which they'd appeared. Another guy was managing a list of actresses and the films in which they had appeared. We launched IMDb with basically just cast and director information. We then found, within a couple of weeks of launch, somebody came along, sent me an email, said, "I love the database, I'm a big fan of writers. Have you thought of adding writers to the database?" So I wrote back to them and said, "That sounds like a great idea. Would you like to manage such a section for us?" And so we added writers. 2 weeks later, somebody came along and said, "I'm a big fan of composers. Have you thought of adding composers to the database?" And you kind of get the story. And so we gradually accumulated a collection of volunteers who cared passionately about some particular type of film or television information, just spread throughout the world, that collaborated on the project with us. And it was those days were very exciting. It was pre-web. We were just posting data into a Usenet news group, available on an FTP server. So we never met in person. We didn't have video conferences. We didn't even speak on the telephone. It was all just coordinated worldwide by email with, 20 people in about 8 different countries. I guess it was 1995, and what we suddenly found was the web became very, very popular. Relatively speaking, I guess it was still early days, but compared to where the web had been, 95 was the year it really took off. And we were finding that the amount of traffic coming to our websites was doubling every 2 weeks, and that was kind of like a compound effect. So for something that you were doing as a volunteer thing in your spare time, it became very difficult to do that because it was just growing at such a crazy rate. And the event for me was, one day I got home from work and my wife said, "The New York Times have just called and would like to interview you." And it's kind of like, wow, we're so big that the New York Times A, know about us, and B, want to talk to us about it. So I think that was the moment for us that kind of made that jump. We've been operating as a profitable business. And we had no intention of selling to anybody. We weren't interested. We had numerous people contact us over the years and kind of say, we're interested in an acquisition, and we would always say no, we weren't interested at all. But I went along and I met Jeff Bezos, who's Amazon's founder and CEO. Jeff had a very clear vision. He had a very clear vision as to how IMDb could be part of the Amazon family, could exist as a separate brand and a separate service, where the information would be optimized for search and for discovery. And Amazon would like to take that same information and build the world's best video store. And so it literally was the proverbial match made in heaven. It was one of the funny things is, here I am 13 years later, and I'm still there. I still get up every morning excited about going to work and seeing what the challenges are. So we've really been able to use the advantages of the resources that Amazon provide and yet retain our independent spirit and independent brand. So it really is the best of both worlds. So tip number one is definitely be passionate about the thing that you want to do. You have to be passionate about it, because it's in those difficult times that you need that passion to carry you forwards. So number two, absolutely work hard. Work hard. It is hard work. And number three, make sure you're lucky.